That's right. It's Monster Monday. We're going to be talking Monsters on the Ohio with Chuck Davison, Doc Lang, and Aaron Wheatley. How's it going, fellas?
Good.
Chuck?
Well, here in Kentucky, it's cooled down a little bit.
Is it, Aaron?
Yes,
Well,
it has.
you warm that water up because we're fixing to make the descent on Owensboro, Kentucky.
Yeah, I know that for sure, man. I can't wait. I'm jacked up.
Yeah, I think everybody is. We wait all year to get there, and now we're getting close. And Chuck and Doc was talking before the show, and everybody's got stuff piled up. They're getting ready to go, and the excitement's building, and everybody's just going to go crazy to get there.
Yeah, that's
Chuck?
one good thing about Monsters.
Yep, it is. It's a good time whether you catch fish or not. It's a blast. Chuck, what do you got for Aaron tonight?
Yeah, I hit him up today. I was wanting to know about the where the guys who want to get oxygen in Owensboro.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple different. From my understanding, there's two different kinds of oxygen. There's medical oxygen, and then there's just the plain O2. I talked to a couple different welding supply companies in Owensboro, Modern Supply and Air Gas. And they're both here in Owensboro, and they said they'll be able to do anything we need as long as we're not needing medical oxygen.
Awesome. That's great to know.
If you go to Facebook, you'll see where I put the information for Modern Supply on there, the phone number, and then the air gas guy just called me this afternoon. Actually, he's a friend of mine. It was like, hey, man, shoot some people my way, too. We can take care of them also. So we got two different companies here in Owensboro that will be willing to supply you with oxygen for your tanks.
Yeah, and it would be a great thing for Bass and More is if there was some way that these guys could be at Bass and More at a certain time and promote Bass and More that the oxygen's going to be there, and everybody knows where that place is going to be anyway, and that'll get people down there.
Yeah, but the way they talk, the refilling process on those bottles, unless you're exchanging it, is a time-consuming thing. It's not like it'll happen in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So basically what we're probably going to have to do is direct you to those supply companies themselves.
Yeah, that's no problem. I seen them do the bottle equalization or whatever, and that's just you're putting the same pressure that's in the big bottle in your little bottle. And
right.
That's just kind of topping it off. That's not really refilling, but it'll work. But,
right.
That's what I was watching some guys do in Memphis.
Right. I'm not real familiar with the oxygen. Me and my partner never had a problem keeping fish alive. He actually runs like Mr. Bubbles, and he's got a big 75-gallon live well. Let's say we never had problems keeping fish alive till Friday. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's always when you least expect it.
Yeah, it's when you got 112 pounds in the live well in the first day of the Cabela's Classic and they're all starting to roll over on their side. You're wishing you had that oxygen, and luckily there was a gentleman from Cincinnati, Ohio, who happened to see us having problems, and he handed us his oxygen bottle, and I didn't know him from Adam. And he handed us his oxygen bottle and said, look, after you weigh your fish in, man, give it back. So we drove back 35 minutes, and by the time we got back to the weigh-in, I opened that lid, and those fish were kicking and mad. So that oxygen is really, it definitely proved to me it's worth having on the boat, for sure.
That's pretty good that somebody did that for you, too.
Yeah, the boy's name was Jeremy Chase, I believe. He's from up around Cincinnati, Ohio.
All right, so the confusing part. Tell us about how the trailering, the convoy to the launches and all that's going to work tournament morning. I know the time.
First of all, let's talk about this. After watching the weigh-in in Henderson and how many fish died, I almost pulled trailering, even though it was 2 weeks before Monsters on the Ohio, because to me, there are two main concerns as a tournament director, and that is my anglers and my fish. Okay. Luckily, a cold front has come in, has dropped the temperature 20 degrees. We're going to have some 40-degree nights, and the water temperature is going to fall. So I'm hoping that that will help preserve these fish that are going to be coming from 45, 30 miles away. I want to express to anybody out there that's watching this show that if you don't think you can keep your fish alive, don't trailer. Stay in Owensboro. Lock through. We're setting up lock times. Because the one thing that will end trailering at Monsters on the Ohio will be dead fish. I promise you, it will never happen again. Me being a leading conservationist here in Kentucky, what would it look like if I run the biggest tournament in Kentucky and I'm killing off 50, 100 fish a tournament? It's not going to look good, and it's not going to make me feel good. So we're going to stick to the trailering. That's not a problem. So this is how that's basically going to go. You've probably seen videos from Angel Mounds and from Rocky Point. We've tried to go out and give you an idea of what those boat ramps look like. Heath Malone and his brother have done some taping with me, and my buddy Drew Hardesty, the Bearded Servant, has done some taping with me. So this is what's going to happen. The night of the captain's meeting, you will decide which boat ramp you're going to put in at, okay? We're going to create a list for Angel Mounds. We're going to create a list for English Park. We're going to create a list for Rocky Point. After you choose what boat ramp you're going to go to, that morning you will still get your live well checked in Owensboro, Kentucky at English Park. Depending on how many boats are leaving English Park will depend on what time the live wells checks start. It could be as early as 3:30. Our plan is to have both of those lines of boats and trucks going east and west at 4:45. That way, Angel Mounds, we timed it. We drove 5 mile an hour over. It was 33 minutes from Owensboro, from English Park to the boat ramp. Rocky Point was 45 minutes. So you'll get your live well checked. You'll get in a line. One of my guys will be in the front that morning. You will stay behind my guy the whole way there to both boat ramps. He will check you in at that boat ramp. If you do not check in at the boat ramp that you designated at the captain's meeting, you will be disqualified. Now, can you, say, put in at Rocky Point or Angel Mounds and fish half the day and you're not doing very well and you want to come back to Owensboro? Yes, you can. We had actually discussed about letting people, if they wanted to, let their partner drive their vehicle back and they drive the boat back to Owensboro. Well, we can't do that because of the slot limit in Kentucky. If a guy is driving a boat down the river with 2 overs in his boat, he's illegal. So you can't do that. Now, if you have a third person in the boat, or you have someone, a friend of yours, that can come and get your vehicle where you put in, and you want to let them drive that back to English Park, and then you just ramp in at English Park, we're going to allow that too. Because we would just soon have everyone as close to English Park as fast as possible for the health of those fish. So anyways, let's get back to the trailer part. So what will happen is you'll follow my guys to the boat ramps. He'll check you in. You'll put in. No one leaves till 6:30. Everyone will leave at 6:30. If you don't feel safe leaving with all those big boats, I know here in Owensboro we have a no wake zone that you can set in until the traffic clears out. Okay. Now, when you're coming into those boat ramps out of town, you got to remember this. No one is going to be there to manage getting in and out of the water. So, for instance, if you put in at Rocky Point and you decide not to come back to the boat ramp till 3 o'clock when the tournament ends, and there's 10 guys getting their boats out of the water, and you don't leave Rocky Point till 3:15, 3:20, guess what? You're not going to make it back in time. So people need to consider coming in early, especially at Rocky Point, because it's 45 minutes away. So you'll fish out of that boat ramp. You can come back to Owensboro anytime you want. You have to be back to Owensboro by 4 o'clock. We're actually going to use Elm Street to bring boats in from both ways, which is about 7 blocks from the actual weigh-in. If you've been to Owensboro, you know there's the Hampton Inn, Then there's the convention center, and then there's the Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn is Elm Street. Every guy from out of town from 4th Street or 2nd Street will be turning on Elm, getting their decals on their cards right there, 6-7 blocks away from the weigh-in. We don't want to have all that congestion down at the weigh-in, people trying to get their card stamped and all that, So we're going to do that 6 or 7 blocks away for guys coming from out of town. But like I said, once my guy leaves that morning, you're pretty much on your own at those boat ramps. But you got to be back in Owensboro with that stamp on your card by 4 o'clock or you're disqualified.
Okay, if you're way back in the weigh-in line and you got some fish that are in trouble, is there going to be guys that will help you with oxygen or anything like that?
I don't know that there'll be guys that will help you with oxygen, but we will let you come on up with your sick fish. So if you're in line, you got a sick fish, my people, the line isn't going to be that long. The line is never that long at Monsters. It's normally from the boat ramp to the weigh-in. So you're talking 10, 11 boats. Now, I know with those guys coming in from out of town that it could possibly get longer, but what we're going to do is we're going to let those guys that are coming in from out of town move in front of the people that are at English Park, because the people at English Park can leave their boats on the water, keep recycling that water. So I'm not saying that the guys at English Park will be last, but as guys come in, we'll let 3 or 4 guys coming in from out of town and then 1 guy from English Park go. Our hope this year is to get that weigh-in over in 2 hours. Now, we've made a couple adjustments, and this is actually what we're going to do. For you guys that are familiar with the weigh-in at Owensboro, before you get to the stage, you come off a concrete pad. You're about 3 boats back right there. Right at that point, I'm going to have 4 of my guys standing there. One of them is going to allow your partner to get in the boat with you. So you and your partner are going to be in the boat. These are all 4 guys that have boats, that drive trucks, that know what they're doing. They're actually going to drive you through the weigh-in. So that way you ain't got to worry about stopping, putting it in park, climbing out, getting up in the boat. Okay, so that's one thing we think will make things faster. My guy drives you through the weigh-in, and then he gets out and comes back and goes to another guy. When you're in that line 3 boats back, we're going to give you 2 baskets. You put your smaller fish in the one basket. You put your bigger fish in another basket. That way, when you come up to the weigh-in line, right there, when we're talking about your sponsors, your name, you are completely prepared to get your fish out. There's no digging through the live well, trying to run down those little channel cats, because I know that's tough. And you'll just basically take your 2 fish out of the basket that you already got them in and hold them up for the crowd like you always did. Get your pictures. But I think if we do all that 3 boats back, we can gain 30 seconds a weigh-in. 30 seconds a weigh-in over 120 boats is an hour. So we have definitely come up with some things that we think will get you through that weigh-in faster, and those fish won't be in that live wells long.
Okay. For the guys that are going to be throwing sponsored items out into the crowd and all that, do you suggest doing that 1 boat back before you pull up, or how would you like that handled?
You can start doing it once you hit that grass. Okay. You could be a couple boats back. You can throw some out to the crowd, and as you move up, throw some out to the other crowd. And as you get in to the weigh-in spot actual itself, it's a pretty big, long crowd through there, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to hit them all up.
Okay. Because I know, that took a lot of time, a couple of guys getting out and going down the rail and handing stuff out was taking a lot of time last year. And I didn't know if you had something to cut that back.
Yeah, like I said, I've been to some weigh-ins, and I've watched a lot of weigh-ins, and what I'm always thinking is, what can I do to improve mine? What can I do? Because I know sitting in that line for 3.5 hours ain't no fun. It's about the worst part of tournament fishing is having to sit in that line all that time. And anything I can do to make the weigh-in go faster, that's what's going to happen. I mean, if you want to talk on stage, finishing the money. I'll bring you up. We can talk for 10 minutes if you want to, but we need to get these fish out of the live well. We need to get these fish back in the river for their health and their safety as quick as possible.
All right. I think that's about all I got. You got anything for him, Doc?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it here on the website. Scott Wiseman, he says, Aaron, what will keep someone that launches at Rocky Point from pulling out and going to, say, New Albany to fish and then going to the weigh-in at English Park?
The polygrapher.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. All right, good call. Okay, so you had made mention earlier that if people want to lock through, you're going to have lock times at both Rocky Fork and Newburgh, right?
Yes, sir. There is a let's see. Newburgh will be 7 o'clock in the morning and 2:30 in the afternoon, and Cannleton will be 7:15 and 2:15. Okay. Now those are set up lock times. Those aren't guaranteed.
Right.
But we will give you the lock master's phone number as part of the package of stuff we give you. So you can, I've learned from being on the river, the best thing to do before you lock through is call the lock master. Ask him what's going on. That way you're not sitting there for an hour and a half waiting. Just give him a phone call. He'll tell you, I got a guy coming through. It's going to be 35 minutes, or I got a guy, or it's wide open. I'll get the gates open for you before you even get here. So you definitely want to stay, if you're going to lock through, we have times, but you definitely want to stay in tune with that lock master because things could change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You could have a bunch of barges show up all at one time. Okay. Yeah, pretty much that. I don't have any more questions. What I had, Chuck already handled them. So, Lyle, you got anything?
I do, actually. Heath Malone would like to know, at the other two boat ramps, will you be taking off in the order of entry, or is it just going to be like a shotgun start?
It's going to be a shotgun start at all three boat ramps.
Okay.
Like I said, I know for sure at English Park, we have a no wake zone. I would say that if you don't want to be in the middle of that big takeoff at Rocky Point, just pull up in the creek, at Angel Mounds, just pull. If you don't want to be in the middle of all that, just pull over to the bank. Just get out of the way because I know it can get crazy. Trust me, I've seen it.
Right.
But
yeah, I have
Owensboro, the things will, except for everybody leaving at one time, everything else is going to be the same. There's a no wake zone taking off. There's a no wake zone coming in. None of that changes.
Right. So that'd be, pretty self-explanatory. And then again, what people need to understand is you are going to specifically go over all the rules at the captain's meeting Friday before the tournament. So if something comes up and they have questions that they're not getting here or they think about in between now and then, you'll address all of those questions at the captain's meeting, no matter how long it takes, so everybody's clear on what they need to do.
Right. The lock master will be at my meeting. The bearded servant goes over all my parking on the big screen. We'll give you all maps of how to do this and how to do that. One thing that we are is we are organized, and as long as everyone plays along with us, this thing will go well. It don't take but a couple, 3 Joes to break the program to mess everything up. We have a program for a reason. We have maps for a reason. We want you in particular places for a reason because we're trying to make this thing the best, fastest thing out there, and there's, a lot of people have said, well, captain's meetings don't make much sense. When you got 200 boats, I guarantee you a captain's meeting makes a lot of sense.
That's exactly right, Aaron. And this is your 7th year. You guys have been through all the stuff that don't work. Now it's time to put into effect the stuff that does work, and it does work. This is one of the best run tournaments ever anywhere in the U.S., and all you got to do is follow directions, and it'll go off just like clockwork, and everything will be great.
Absolutely. I have an outstanding crew. I have some super smart people that help me, thank the Lord. And we really work hard to make everything go as smooth as glass. And I know there's hiccups here and there, but this is going on my 7th year, and I've never seen a real true complaint about Monsters on the Ohio. And I'm not saying that to be bragging. I'm saying that because that makes us feel good. It's not easy to keep that many people happy. And we work our tail off to do that. We try to treat everyone the same. We try to do what we would do for Doc Lang, what we do for Lyle Stokes, what we do for newbies to the tournament. You know, I mean, it's a great family atmosphere, and I think that's why it's gone over so well.
Oh, I agree. And like I say, since the first one that we went to, we've had a great time. And I told you before the show, just go ahead and put me down because we'll be there next year. You know we're coming.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't no question about
that for sure.
I do have a question from Ken Pryor. He had sent me a message before we started the show, and
Yes, sir.
He's concerned about preserving bait in case that the weather does turn around and it gets hot again. Is there any place down there that you know of that has dry ice?
Dry ice. Yeah, there's a couple different places that have dry ice. Tell Ken that I will get the names of those places and I'll put them on. I'll put it on Facebook. Because I've used dry ice myself before. So I will get that information on our Facebook page for him.
Excellent. Thank you, Aaron. That'll work out really good. And, you know, I've taken up dry ice to Colorado. I've not used it on bait, but if you're bringing bait, as far as he is, he's north of me quite a little ways, and we're 6.5 hours out. So if he's bringing bait with him, that'd be a great way to preserve it and keep him from having to bring a freezer and different things. And
Right.
you know, I want to ask you a little something that doesn't pertain to the tournament. It pertains to staying down there.
Yes,
There was a bunch of guys that took generators to Memphis, and it worked out extremely well. Do you recommend that if you guys bring generators with them to make sure everybody's got electric to charge their batteries with?
I have no issue with that whatsoever. You know, I know the Sleep Inn has a few electrical outlets. We just picked up the Courtyard Marriott today. They have a few electrical outlets, and then at the Ramada, you can actually run power cords from the rooms. But I'm telling you right now, the Ramada is almost out of rooms. They kind of didn't hold the rooms for us they were supposed to. So if you're wanting to get at the Ramada at that special rate, you better hurry up and call in. Luckily, the Courtyard Marriott has jumped on board. That is a really nice hotel for $89 a night. It's a little bit out of the way, but it is a really nice hotel, and they just basically voluntarily jumped on board today. And I needed that, you know, because when you're talking about 200 teams and 85% of them aren't locals, you got a whole lot of hotel rooms that you need.
That's 100% correct. And with all the motels of all the boaters and the 50 extra that they had in Memphis that they wasn't counting on with the generators, that made it a smooth operation because everybody was plugged into their stuff down there, and they had some issues because they wasn't expecting that much draw when those things was built. But it worked out really well. So my point was, if anybody wants to take one, I'm sure that they will be welcome, because everybody that needs to get charged up needs to get charged up. And if you guys got an extra one, then go ahead and take it down. If you don't use it, it ain't no big deal.
Right. I have actually talked to the city about making a charging station down at English Park for all the boats, but you're going to have someone stand guard, because you ain't just going to leave all them boats down there. You know, that's, if we ever move out of the Ramada with the exterior rooms, that's something we will
Nope. Are you there, Aaron? Hello?
He phased out.
He did.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know what happened. I don't know if we lost the feed or what.
I don't know. Maybe on his phone or something, but if we lost the feed, it'd be all of us too. So I don't believe that's the case.
Well,
But,
I meant his feed.
Oh yeah, it could be. I'm not sure how that works, but we got a lot of good information. I mean, hang on just a second. Maybe it's our feed.
No, we're good.
No, we're good.
Okay, good.
No, Aaron, he may have got a call on his phone or something, and that would have locked him up.
That could be.
Okay, I do have a question here, and since Aaron, we might be able to get him back in here. Says how many Trapper 234 says how many boats are entered and how many boats was there last year? What did he tell us earlier, Chuck?
But this time last year, I believe he had 130. This time last year, I believe. And then 173 was, what was the magic number last year?
There he's back. Okay.
I'm back.
Aaron. Okay, Aaron.
Yes.
Trapper 234 wants to know how many boats are entered and how many boats was there last year?
Right now, there are 160 boats entered. Last year, there was 182. Like we discussed earlier, there was only 139 boats before the captain's meeting last year. So we brought on 43 boats at the captain's meeting last year, which kind of hurt us. If you're out there and you're thinking about fishing monsters, go ahead and get entered. The weather looks beautiful, because what ended up happening last year was we had plans of feeding 300 people, and we ended up having to feed 400 people, and we kind of ran short on food, and we don't want to do that. We ain't got no problem feeding you. Just let us know you're coming. 100 people is a lot of people to be adding at the very end. I don't think that'll happen this year. If we're at 160 now, I'm getting a lot of phone calls about that 200 boat mark that they want to get in. So you better go on and get in, because I'm telling you, the 200, we're going to get it. We're going to get there, and we may have to turn people away, and that's no bull crap.
So you're planning cutting them off at 200.
Our plan has been, since we announced the tournament for this year, that our cap is 200 boats. It's been that way since December.
Yep.
At this point last year, how many boats did you have?
About 119, 118. So we're.
That's how many was on the shirt.
That's how many. No, yeah, that's how many was on the shirt. Yes, sir.
Wow.
So there's 140 on the shirt now. I got at least 20 teams to add as soon as I get done doing this show that have come in through mail or PayPal. So we're right at 160 right now, paid, not registered, entered.
Aaron, if you get a chance, if you wouldn't mind, I know we got a lot of people sending all of us questions privately and on Catfish Weekly, but if you would go up there when you get that updated and post that to our Facebook page, it'd be good, because a lot of people see it there, and that way they know if they can still get in or not. Hello?
We lose him again?
Something happened.
Got another phone call.
Yep. He's a busy guy now. I mean, we got a big tournament coming up, and he's the head cheese whiz, so we need to make sure that and that was one of the deals on getting him on here, and we're about done, so we can get him back to his rat killing and all the stuff and taking care of all the people that want to know about that. And as soon as that happens, and we'll get Jim on, and hopefully Sheila will join him tonight. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll find out about all the stuff that they got going. But, Aaron has got – I've talked to him, and sometimes I'll send him a message that I need to visit with him, and sometimes he'll get right back with me. And sometimes it takes a little bit because he's that busy, and people don't understand.
Right. And I'll speak for him on this one. That the captain's meeting is absolutely mandatory. Last year, I think you were standing there with us. The Massengales had boat number 1 because they won the year before that, correct?
That's right.
And then they called Aaron, and they told Aaron, they said, "Hey, man, we're running late. We're not going to be able to make the captain's meeting." He said, "Sorry, you're not going to be able to fish." And you're telling the best captain. The best catfishing team in the country, you know, they're not going to be able to fish because they're running late. I mean, it is absolutely mandatory that you're there.
And you know, something of this magnitude, it's got to be that way. And if you set rules, you got to stick with them. And that's one thing I give him my hands out for. Aaron takes care of the rules. He's got a great rule package in place, and he makes people stick to it. And that's what you have to do. So it works out really well. And I think that it'll be just like all of the rest of them. I think it'll be an outstanding event. And I'm excited. I know you guys are too. We get things going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a working man's sport. Things are going to happen to where you may be entered and still might not make it. There's always next year. So, you know, rules are rules. He has to go by the rules he set. And, you know, everybody's going to totally respect him for it. And that's the way it's going to be.
That's exactly right. I think Aaron has probably got knocked off for the evening. I'm going to send this. Link to as soon as I get it done here, to Jim Sparks, and see if we can get him on here. Well, I'm having a little issue with that, but that's just me.
Yeah, Claude just asked, did Aaron have enough help at the captain's meeting? If he gets back on, ask him that.
I would say to that, Claude, if you get a chance, just drop him a message, and he will tell you if he needs any assistance. I can't imagine that he would turn down any kind of help because we all know how big a deal this is, and Aaron's hands-on. You know, we find him throughout the motel parking lots. We find him throughout every Bass and More. We'll be over there Thursday doing live shows. So all you guys that want to jump in, come over to Bass and More Thursday afternoon. Doc, Chuck, and I, we're going to be there doing a live show. We do one there every year. It is simply a blast. And I talked to Jim this afternoon. They're trying to get in their new store so we can have everything set up. And it's really, really close to the ramp, so it'll be great. And if we can get all that lined out, it'll be a lot of fun. But Jim and Sheila work as hard as Aaron do to make sure that we have all the bait and any kind of whatever it is that we need. If you forget a reel, or if you forget a rod, or if you need to buy license, which a lot of us out-of-staters has got to buy license, they got you covered. They got live bait. They got stuff to catch skipjacks and stuff if you're lucky enough to find them. If you forget your cast net, they'll have them there. They'll have rain gear. They'll have all kinds of stuff. And you know, that's the kind of place that we all follow and we need to be involved with. And like I say, we'll be over there doing a live show. It'll be outstanding time. It always is. And if you guys want to sit down and visit with us for a little bit, jump on in there. Cindy will probably be there with her notebook, taking people's names in a kind of an order, and we'll try to run everybody through in 5, 10, 15 minutes, how long ever it takes to visit with everybody. And we try to do 30 minutes to an hour sessions, and then we'll take a break and let that upload before we start the next one. And I think that works out the best, don't you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's really hard to run one through and then load up several hours worth of them. And besides that, my old tired butt gets sore sitting in them chairs after so long.
Yeah. They didn't get sore down in Tennessee, though. We had a good time down there. Yeah, they were comfortable.
Yeah. We had an outstanding time in Memphis. It was really fun. But you know, 7 years of Monsters on the Ohio. Everybody looks forward to going down there. It's a huge deal. Aaron is convinced he's got 200 boats going to be there. I'm pretty sure he probably's got it figured out pretty close to that. So if you haven't got your entry in, the cutoff is 200. If you want to fish that tournament, you better be getting that entry on in there, because once that number reaches 200, there's be no more entries in Monsters on the Ohio for 2016. So keep that in mind. Get on in there. It's going to be a huge, huge thing. Claude Reynolds just made a post that he's got a big generator. I know Ken Pryor told me today he was bringing his generator. It is just going to be lots of fun, and there's no reason. We took our generator to Memphis and never unloaded it out of the boat, but that happens. And if I'm not going to take one because Ken's taking one, Claude's taking one, surely one of them guys won't shun me completely, and I'll be able to charge up. But generators, when you're talking about 150, 200 boats in a tournament, I can't think of a motel anywhere that'll have enough outlets to do 50, 60, 70, 100 boats. So somebody needs to step up and bring some of them. It doesn't really matter because there's going to be generators running. So if you can't sleep on account of the noise, it's going to be a too bad kind of deal, because everybody's got to have them boats charged up, right, guys?
Yeah,
exactly.
And
yeah.
it wasn't bad at Tennessee. They had generators running. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, yeah. And last year, me and Kettner, we had our extension cord damaged at the hotel. We was leaving Bassmore. We was fixing to go buy one at Walmart. Jim Sparks says, "Boys, go get that one out of the bed of my truck. Just bring it back to me before y'all leave."
Yeah, see, that's a heck of a deal.
I mean, you can't meet no better people than that. And we took care of it. Jason took it back down there Sunday morning before he left town, and everything was good.
Yeah, they're just good people.
Everybody's just out to help everybody out, and you can't be in no better environment.
That's right. There'll be a lot of stuff going on besides the tournament. Everybody will be pre-fishing today. A tournament will be doing the show, but at night, everybody's standing around outside and they're shooting the breeze and they're having a good time and drinking a little adult beverages or so. And it's just as good a time as you can have fishing tournaments. I just, I can't, it's hard to explain that if you haven't done it before, or if you haven't been to Monsters on the Ohio, what it is. I mean, you got to be there. You got to experience it to understand the time we have, and it's just a blast. It really is. And last year, boys, there was some giant fish caught for the Ohio River turned in.
Yeah. Yep.
I know Sam Brooks caught a pig and Larry caught a stud, and there was just some really, really good fish turned in. And I'm curious to see how the trailering works. I know that, and everybody knows that I'm not a fan of that, but when you get to the point of 200 boats, Owensboro has got a great facility to launch out of. I would think the biggest concern they would have there would be parking 200 boats and trucks and trailers. But the water, once you get 182, 184 launched out of there last year. And that water's got to be tore up for an hour and a half, 2 hours after that. It just got to be.
Yeah. The only thing with the shotgun start, and this is for the listeners out there, if you haven't ever been involved in one, what you want to do is if you're going to go downriver, have your boat pointed that way. If you're going upriver, have your boat pointed that way. But it just seems like each time there's a shotgun start, somebody in the middle gets kind of confused of which way they're going to go. And it's you want to safely, at least they got that idle zone that you have to respect, and then once you get out of that, then you can hammer it down and go.
Well, and that's right. And if you're in a smaller boat and you're concerned about the safety, then let them other guys in them big boats go, or get off to the side over near the bank, and just stay out of the way. We don't want anybody getting hurt down there. That's is something that's extremely important, that everybody has a safe and fun experience down there, and that's what we're doing. Jim and Sheila has run into some difficulties. They just sent me a message. They're trying to get everything going down there. She thinks she's about got it, so they'll be on here with us in just a few minutes if everything goes right. So we've covered a lot of this stuff with Aaron. We get Jim here, and we find out that he's got all the bait and stuff, and I know he's already been planning this all year. He's like everybody else. He's got to get it going, and that's what it takes to make something this big happen. It just takes a lot of planning, and they've been doing it. Jim and Sheila and Brandon are moving in their new building, and if I understood him correctly, that's a couple of blocks or so from the boat ramp. So if you forget something, I know he's really good about going down there late and getting stuff, meeting you at different times of day and night. I'm sure they'll open up early, stay late. I know that he's getting a bunch of bait from Carl, so he'll have plenty of skipjack for you. In the past year, they've had some huge goldfish, some of the biggest goldfish I ever seen in my life. I just couldn't believe it. And all kinds of other stuff. And they brought rain gear in when it was going to rain one year. So they'll take care of us. Chuck, are you bringing bait with you from Alabama?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I've got a few frozen, which isn't very, very fresh. It's a couple of months old. I'm gonna try to go, a day or two before I head out, and just try to get me some good stuff on ice, and then just have it for reserve and concentrate really hard on trying to get some while I'm up there. Because I think fresh bait's really, really, really key for this tournament.
Doc was telling me this afternoon that we needed to find a place where we could pick us up some hot dogs and cheese whiz, because he really thought that that's probably what we was going to be catching the biggest part of our fish on.
Yeah, big fish like us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I got them Vienna sausages that'll be in the boat. I guess if we run out of skipjack, we can try some of them babies on. I'm not sure if they'd like the smoke flavor or just the original, but, you never know. I'm liable to have both.
Yeah, I don't know what you broke out there in Tennessee, but yeah.
Man, I go through them babies. I've actually, you guys may or may not know J.D. Richardson is a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Old JD, he's liable to pull up beside me in a tournament or something and says, don't be some Vienna sausages, he's you got to feed him, man. It's like Big Dave Ashby, Mongo hungry, he's got to feed that thing, so that's the way it works.
That's funny.
Absolutely. What do you like in there, Chuck, from being ready to take off and head to Owensboro?
I'm about ready. I mean, I could be ready in a day. I just got to get this work week done, try to get my equipment at work, good enough where they won't be calling me every 10 minutes and, running my trip. Right. we don't operate on Saturday, so I don't see them, hurting my tournament like they do on 2-day tournaments. But, during the week, if everything's not running right, they'll drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm about ready. Just got to save up another paycheck, and I'm good.
I understand about that. We get down there and do our stuff. Like I was saying earlier, we'll get set up in hopefully Jim and Sheila, they'll be in their new store, and we'll get set up in Thursday afternoon, do our live show. And anybody that wants to do that, you know, Jim has notoriously stayed however late it takes to do that. So if you guys want to set in for a session with Catfish Weekly, come on down, and Cindy will be sitting there with the notebook, and she'll get everybody in the order of which we're going to take interviews, and you can just sit down in there. We've had some really big guys come in down there, and you know, I know that Steve Douglas is going to be there. I seen a video where he had announced an all-woman team, and that was pretty cool. I'm kind of anxious. I think Steve will bring those girls over there, and we'll get them maybe in the thing, do an interview with them, and that should be awesome.
Yeah, I've been conversing with a guy that's on here, Trapper 234. He's coming. He said, I'm coming from Wisconsin. This is going to be his first time at the Monsters, and he's coming from Wisconsin to fish the tournament.
Cool. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm sure we'll get to meet him, and that'll be a lot of fun. I know Jerry, I can't pronounce his last name, had come from Madison a few years ago and fished down here. I would love for Jerry to come down and experience this. It's such a great event. And, man, they got the biggest channel cat up there you ever seen. It's unbelievable. So good. I mean, you guys go ahead. I'm going to try to see if I can help them get this lined out here right quick.
All right. Well, while we're doing that, I'm going to I fished a series this past weekend called the Cat Chaser Series Championship, and it's run by Dana and Tina Jackson, and they're here in Ohio, and they had their year-end championship, and it was a good. I mean, they fished a lake called Rocky Fork Lake. It's in Hillsboro, Ohio. It's well known for having 14 to 20 pound channel cats in it. And the first place on that tournament was Eric Brammer and Jack Creed. They had 52.15 pounds, and only 2 of those channels could be over 28 inches. So, man, they had some nice fish. The second place guys, James Westney and Craig Shirley, they had 52 pounds. So, you know, they had some really big fish, those 2 top places. Chad Adcock, Chris Vanetta had 42.11 pounds. That was third. And Dana and Tina Jackson was in fourth with 41.2 pounds. Well-run tournament. These guys, I have a lot of respect for them because they do a great job keeping their fish. Channel cats are a little bit tough. You know, if you're not using oxygen on them, they're a little bit tough to keep in a live well because they just, you know, they're notorious for flying all over the inside of a live well. But these guys, you know, we put those fish back in the lake and they all just swam away. And I know they were all real good, but hats off to those guys with that tournament series. I really enjoyed it this year.
That sounds like a great time, Doc.
Yeah.
Well, they're really struggling. They think they've about got it, but we'll see if we can get them on here in a little bit. If not, I'll send some links out to Matt Marshall and Justin Wolfe. I mean, Justin and them had a heck of a day, and we would need to get them on here and visit about catching that fish they caught down there. It's just a stud. I mean, 103 pounds in a tournament. So as long as we've been doing Catfish Weekly, to my knowledge, that's the biggest fish ever been caught in a tournament since we've been doing the show. And I'd really like to get them on here, but they got a really cool story to tell about it, and I just think it'd be a good time.
It has cooled down here in Ohio. Is it cooling down at your place down there, Chuck?
Starting to cool down right before I signed on. I think the front is coming over right now.
Oh, okay.
So it
Yeah,
should be
didn't
cool when I wake up in the morning. Hopefully it'll be in the 60s.
Yeah, that's what it's.
We haven't had 60s. This is at night now. We haven't had 60s at night in forever.
Now, how do you guys think that it's going to this cool down? Water temperature's been around the 80-ish mark in our line of the United States, you know, latitude or whatever it is. And how do you think that that's going to affect the fishing down in Owensboro?
As I think, as long as the pressure and the systems, you know, get stable, you know, no ups and downs, up and downs, up and downs, you know, but if it's going to do what it's going to do and stay that way and get stable, the fishing's going to be really good.
Well, you know, and I think 2 or 3 days of it cooling off, they'll get adjusted to it and go from there. I'm going to send out a couple of invites and see if we can get Justin in here while we're waiting on Jim. And maybe we can get Jim and Sheila, get their stuff lined out, and we can get them on here in a little bit. We can always do them next week if we have to. So we get everything lined up.
Hey, Lyle, Trapper 234 just sent me a thing saying he met you and I in Memphis, but never got to see Chuck.
Okay, cool.
So,
good deal. Well, you know, that was a crazy time down there. We was twice down there at the pyramid, and we met a lot of people and took pictures and all kinds of stuff. And you know, people need to understand we're just fishermen. You know, this show is just a fun thing for us. We're not don't consider ourselves celebrities or anything, so that stuff kind of overwhelms us a little bit. But it's a lot of fun, and we enjoy doing the live shows and different things. So everybody just needs to come down and have the amount of fun with them that we do, and enjoy Owensboro. That's a beautiful facility they got down there.
Yeah,
and
they really support this tournament.
They do. You know, the whole town gets behind them.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get stuff lined out and get these guys on here in a minute. Hang on, I got to. But they work really hard, and like I say, we get down there. You're liable to see Aaron Wheatley every year that I've been down there. He's on a ladder as you pull through the line, checking the live wells. He's a hands-on guy, and he's got some of the greatest help that helps it pull that off that there ever was. And you can't do it without it. You just can't. So
yeah.
I'm not sure where these other guys are. They should be trying to jump in here. I know Justin's seen his, and Matt's seen his, so maybe they'll get in here in a minute, and we'll get going. What do you guys think it's going to take to win Monsters this year as far as weight goes?
Oh, man. I don't know.
140.
What won it last year? What did Larry have last year? You remember?
127, I think.
127?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 127. That rings the bell for some reason. I think it was in the upper 120s, I want to say, or low 130s.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm pretty sure that it'll take over 130 with what they weighed in last year compared to the years before. 130s would be. I'd be happy with the 130 weigh in.
Yeah. There's Matt.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Going good.
Congratulations on a good win down in St. Louis Saturday. That's an outstanding day.
It was a good day, but I could have done it without Justin.
You could have done it without him?
No.
No, Justin's a heck of a fisherman. You know, we're very happy to have him affiliated with the rod company and to be on the show with us a few times. And he always shows up down at different events that we go to, and just a really good guy. And like I say, he puts in some great fish. He puts a lot of time in on the water finding them babies too.
Oh, yeah. I know he told me he was out all the week before searching for him, so.
You know, he is very knowledgeable about helping you with your bumping situation, isn't he?
Yes, he helped me out a lot. I wasn't familiar with it. I wasn't too enthralled to use it in tournaments until he showed me, and then I was fine with it.
Well, he's been doing it a long time, and he has a great place. St. Louis is one of the greatest places to drift for catfish that there is, because, and I say that because of the barge traffic, which you really have to watch all that barge traffic, but that keeps the commercial guys pretty much out of that area because they don't lose their equipment, and there's a lot of fish in those areas. But barge traffic is something that you have to watch, but there's a lot of fish caught down there drifting for catfish.
Yeah. I know Justin was saying he never had a barge honk at him until during that tournament one come up and started honking at us.
Try to get you to move
out of the way, huh?
Yeah, they were still a little ways down, but he was already working on getting out of their way, so.
Chuck, you got any questions or anything to visit with Matt about while we're waiting on the rest of these guys to get in?
Let me see something that won't run the questions for Jason. Did y'all bounce all day from the time y'all did? So y'all make a run upriver and y'all bounced your way back? Is that how y'all did it?
Yes, we basically ran to the dam and just kept working around below the dam up at Alton all day.
Okay.
Do you think he was hung up on something? When the big one hit, did he think he was hung, or?
He didn't know what it was at first. He just said something grabbed it. He waited a minute because it was like a ghost bite for him. He didn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden he started to reel on it, and he felt the tension of it, and then it just took off from there. So,
okay, so it didn't just sit on the bottom; it took off.
It sat there for a little bit. I mean, then when he started getting it closer, that's when it started taking off a little bit and then just trying to stick to the bottom. It did not want to come up for a while.
Okay, one of the guys just posted on YouTube. He said, "How fast were you drifting?"
I want to say we were drifting between 0.5 and 0.8.
Okay, so what was the current like up there in St. Louis? Was it cranking, or?
It was cranking. I think we were going between 1.5 and 1.8.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you probably had 3 mile an hour current in to start with. Yeah. Good deal. That one come from dirty or catfishing. Different name.
When you guys was down there on them fish, I know that Justin had been after them looking for fish for a while, but did you know that there was a fish of that magnitude down there?
No, we did not.
Okay. I didn't. I know a few years ago when Justin was actually running tournaments, which he was very successful with, Jason Jackson and Ryan Casey caught one down there that was 105, I believe, which is a stud in itself. In fact, is just a pig, but that place is known for them big fish. I mean, they're just down there. what the year that Jason caught them, if I remember correctly, there was 600-pound fish caught in the St. Louis area down there that year. And I don't know any place else that's ever done that. I mean, six of those giants. It's just unbelievable. But the bite was tough for you guys, wasn't it? I think it was pretty tough for everybody down there Saturday.
Yes, it was tough for us, and I know we talked to a lot of them, and they said it was tough too.
Yeah.
I think, was it 10 boats didn't weigh a fish?
There was how many?
10 boats out of 31 that did not weigh a fish.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. And there's always a lot of fish down there, so that's pretty unusual, I would have to think.
One of the guys just posted on here, Danny Cow, says, a guy I know caught an 88-pounder off the bank right below the dam on September 6th.
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Justin told me the day of the tournament, there was like, he was made number 3 for 100-pound caught in that area in September so far.
What was that?
I think Justin was telling me the day of the tournament when he caught his, there was 300-pound fish caught in September now.
Wow. Yeah, it's just amazing. And, you know, I don't know how close all of them was. That thing has got everything that you want for putting big fish in a boat. You've got the dam there at Alton, which is just up from the confluence. You got the confluence where the Mississippi or the Missouri runs into the Mississippi, and then below that you've got the chain of rocks, which is something that people really need to be watching out for. And then the other dam or the other where you lock through to get the barges through, and then once you get past that, there is no other dams on down the rest of the way.
Yeah. What were you guys using for bait?
Skipjack.
Okay.
We were using the midsection.
Took a midsection. Wow.
I know he tried Moon Eye, and I don't think he ever got a hit on Moon Eye, and we just stayed with Skipjack, and that's what we kept getting our bites on. They're a soft bite. As soon as you try to reel it down on some, they weren't there.
So they weren't slamming the baits. They were just mouthing them and just easing.
Yep, they were just setting them in their mouth, and when I reeled down a couple times on a couple, it just pulled it right out. It was too soon, and
Is Casey sitting there with you, Matt?
yeah, she's sitting right next to me.
Casey, how come you didn't catch that big fish?
Yeah, I wish I could have. But it weighed as much as I do, so that would be hard to reel in.
How excited did you get when you guys got that thing in the boat?
Well, I was trying to videotape, and my phone's memory was full. So I didn't get the videotape, so I was trying to delete stuff so I could get a video of it. And I was just chaotic. And then it was just exciting, like crazy mess, really.
How excited was Justin during this whole process?
Oh, my goodness.
When he felt the weight of that on the other end, he's like, it's big. And when we got it up the first time, we'd seen how big it was, and then he was just struggling everything. So,
there he is.
And I'll let him finish telling him what his excitement was about it.
All right, Justin Wolfe, glad to have you. I see you finally got in here.
I'm here.
Dude,
I had to go a different route.
I am so glad. If anybody ever deserved to be a member of the 100-pound club, it has to be you. You've earned that. You fish so much and run tournaments so long and do so much for the sport. I'm very happy to see you catch that fish. And I know that Casey and Matt was thrilled to be in the boat with you. And before I let Chuck and Doc visit with you, I want you to tell us this story about getting this fish in the boat because, when you told me about it, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again.
No, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we were just bouncing along. We bouncing baits down the river, and I just felt one disappear. I got pretty much a ghost bite, and you either when you lose the bottom, you got a big fish, or he's pushing it up, or he's coming to you, or running side to side. And so I just I told Matt, I said I got a bite, and I reeled down a little bit, and he was they weren't really aggressive that last Saturday, so I was letting him kind of inhale it, I guess, before I set the hook on him, and I kind of fed it to him, and it was a tight line on it. He was running a little line off my spool, and I reeled down about 1 o'clock there and let him have it. Tried to cross his eyes like what I like to do, and it was a solid fish. I didn't think it was that big. I'm like, well, that's probably at least a 50-pounder. That's something solid there. It's a good fish. Well, I turned trolling motor off and started chasing after him. Get the boat over the top of him, and we were up and down. And Matt goes, "You about ready?" I said, "This fish hadn't came off the bottom of the river yet, Matt." So there we were up and down with him, and this is probably 10 minutes into it, and I just held real tight on him, and decided, I'll start pulling on this fish and see what we got. And I started pulling up, and that rod started buckling over. And I said, Matt, I've never seen this rod buckle over like this before. I said, this is at least 80. I've caught a couple 80s. I said, this got to at least be 80. And he still wouldn't come off the bottom. So we're drifting down the river. We're just kind of he's swimming with us, I guess. He may be holding us there. I never did go back and look at my chart to see if we actually stopped. But I pulled up some more, and he just wasn't ready to come. And I got down and reeled down on him, and I said, I'm going to pull it one more time. And I pulled up, and he kind of just lifted up, and I said, here we go. I'm not going to let him go back down. So I just kind of got down on my knees like almost catcher squat, and would just crank down and pull up and crank down and pull up, and he was coming up and coming up and coming up and fighting at the same time. I mean, the rod couldn't have been any more than that rod could have been. And we got him up. And we seen his tail, and I guess just a little bit of excitement. I said, get him, and he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to get at all. And I said, I shouldn't have told you that, Matt. And he got the net out of the way. But when we seen his tail, I'm up by the shifter in the boat alongside my seat. And that tail was out the back of the boat. I said, that fish is long. So I'm not sure what we had. And we kind of got him up and seen his head, but we didn't see any of the girth and the width that he had underneath him. Well, I pulled up one more time, and it came up, and the reel separated from the reel seat. I don't know if you can see this. This is a 66. This is a 6600 Garcia. Now I've had these a long time, so I don't know if it was just for its time to break or what. But the two wells broke. So I'm watching that. I jammed the rod in my waist. And I grabbed the reel before it hits the bottom of the floor of the boat. Now you got a picture of it. I got the reel in one hand. I got the rod in the other hand. It's like a yo-yo thing going on. I'm pulling up and pulling down on the reel. I'm my own drag system right now. Might as well have been hand lining, I guess. So what I tried to do, I was trying to keep the reel real tight when I was pulling up and trying to wrap the tight slack that I had. It wasn't slack, it was just tight, and I was trying to wrap it around the reel to gain on it. I just pulled it down. I said, Matt, get ready, because it only went down about 5 foot, and I just pulled up as hard as I could. I don't know how I didn't break a line or break anything else, and he just kind of surfaced up, just perfect. And I seen Matt was ready with the net back there, and we just let it go, and it went right in the net like it was supposed to. And he pulled that thing over top of that gunnel and laid it on that back deck, and I just paused. I was like, I don't even know. I said, it's 90 plus. That's all I can guess. I said, it might be 100, it might not. So, and there we were. We're like, get the live well ready. There ain't nothing else we can do right now.
And you guys put this in the boat pretty early in the day, right?
It was probably between 9 and 10. I never even did go back to check the time on that to see what time it was.
Oh,
was Was anybody nearby? Did they see
There
you
was
bring
there
it?
was boats all around us. There was actually one guy running by us. He probably thought we was hung up, I guess. I really thought a couple boats were going to stop to just watch us land this fish. You know, we didn't know how big it was at the time.
Yeah.
But there was 5 or 6 boats just downriver from us.
Wow.
Okay, Doc, you got any questions for Justin and Matt and Casey?
No, that's a pretty good story. I could see you doing what you were doing.
Oh,
That's the second time that's happened to him, man.
That second reel I broke, I was in a grafting tournament earlier this year, and I set the hook on a 27-pound blue and did the same thing. But luckily, my dad and brother were both there. I'm holding the rod. My brother was reeling, and my dad had to net the fish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't freak out. You know, I guess with experience, you stay calm. I don't know, but it's just like it was, well, my reel's broke. We'll just plan B.
Getting stuck.
I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Right?
Yeah, just keep a cool head, and evidently you did that. That's great.
Oh, man.
Hey, I got a question here from Dirty or Catfishing. How deep were you fishing, bumping the ledge, the middle of the channel, or the current scene?
I'd say we was running the gut. That water was probably anywhere between 40 and 50 feet, I guess. Somewhere in that range, if I remember right.
Okay.
But
You
pretty
were
much
in the middle of the dam?
Yeah, we below Alton Dam. What happened is those fish, the week before the tournament, the bite was excellent. They had the gates in the water about halfway down. And it was still hot then, but the water temperature's been about 75. And the fish were starting to stack up behind the dam. I heard, numerous reports of guys catching good fish, just out fun fishing. The gates came up, I think Saturday, the Saturday before the tournament, that evening, and I went out the Sunday before, and they were out of the water, and it was free flowing river, and it just scattered the fish, and they just never recovered. And we went into a hot, dry, high pressure system almost every day. It seemed like you get a little bit of clouds rolling in the afternoon, but it wasn't a cloud in the sky every morning. And it just scattered the fish, and it just seemed like, it was a rough tournament. I think 84 pounds was second place, with a 44 being big fish. And he kept relaying me, who was weighing in. We've kind of sandbagged a little bit, of course. Trying to be last.
Really? I can't imagine you doing that.
Right. Why would we do that, right? But he was relaying. He called me and said, hey, 44 pounds is big fish, 80-something, second place. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm going, he's like, you're one fish going to win this thing. I say, no way. I said, that's impossible. I kept telling him all day, I said, we're going to need that third fish. We only weighed in 2 fish. I said, we're going to need that third fish. I lost one early in the morning. He had a bite. We probably only had 6, 7 bites all day that we really, that we felt anyways.
And this is the reason why a 3 fish limit is so important. How big a live well do you have in your boat, Justin?
That should be an 80-gallon in Procat.
Now, how much extra room did you have when you put a 100-pound fish in that 80-gallon?
I had plenty. I probably could have got, we probably would have had to play puzzle with them, but, tail to head to tail or whatever, back and forth, and got him. I probably could have put another, if it happened, another 70-pound fish in there with no problem, and some smaller ones.
But a 5 fish limit, even in that big of a live well, is a load. Yeah,
it is. 5 fish with that 100-pounder in there, it'd been tight.
Yeah,
it definitely would have been tight. If I would have stumbled into, say, another 50 or a 60 or something like that, it'd been tight in there. It'd been real tight. Yeah,
and that's why I've always pushed for a 3 fish limit. I know with the areas that have the 2 over 34 or 2 over 35 that they might be able to get away with that, but we're not fortunate enough in Missouri and Illinois to have those regulations. So it's extremely important, a 3 fish limit where, it's like, I've told a story, and you was there when Danny Southland caught 195.2 pounds on 3 fish down in the same places we're talking about fishing. And I don't know anywhere else that's ever done anything reasonably close to that. And you got to have a quality live well, and you got to babysit them things. You just have to.
Yeah, pretty much. We popped the lid open, make sure he was doing all right. That he had such a girth of a belly on him that he wouldn't sit upright. She or he or whatever wanted to lay on her side. About maybe a half hour into it, she just felt more comfortable to lay on her side.
Casey, did you get any pictures taken with you holding that fish, or would it just covered you up where they couldn't have seen you?
Oh, man. Like I said, it weighed about as much as I did. I was almost scared to go near it.
Yeah, we can't repeat her words.
Really?
Yeah, we can't repeat her words when that fish came in the boat.
I know you guys had to have a blast with that thing, and Matt and Casey have been fishing a lot up north there in northern Missouri and Iowa and Illinois this year, and they've been doing very well. They haven't been doing tournaments nearly as long as some of us have been, but they've been very successful. And Casey, if I understand correctly, you are the Twisted Cat Outdoor Lady Angler of the Year now?
Yes, I am.
And congratulations on that. That's quite a feat. It is. It's something that has been put in place with that tournament series years ago, and we're very proud of it and very happy that you won that. And I know Matt is a big part of that. You guys fished a couple of tournaments with Justin, and I think it was a done deal probably before this tournament. But to be in the boat with a 100-pound fish, and I can imagine the excitement all of you guys had.
Yeah, everybody's telling me I can retire now.
Oh, no.
Is that how it works?
No, there's 110 out there someplace for you.
Everything's for sale. I'm done, right?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Well, from what I've been told, I'm only one of 4 people that's caught a 100-pound fish in a tournament.
Wow.
I believe
it's me, Phil King, Kerry Winchester, and Jason Jackson.
Yeah. Was Kerry the one who was fishing with Harold Dodd?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. As far as I know, that's correct, Justin. And
2 of them were caught on the same weekend.
That's pretty good company right there, I'll have to tell you.
Yep. One was caught on Saturday. The other one was caught on Sunday.
Well, I got thinking about the odds. I said, what are the odds? First, you got to think how many waters in the United States hold 100-pound catfish. I can think maybe 4 or 5, areas where rivers, and then how many big tournaments or just a tournament in general. You might have 2 times a year that you get a chance to do that in a tournament. Sometimes on them bodies of water.
That's right.
That's just the crazy odds for it to even happen.
It is, and like I say, we're very happy that you happen to be the guy that getting it, and congratulations to the 3 of you on the win in that tournament. That was a really great feat, just winning the tournament, but the bonus with that fish, and I wish Casey's phone wouldn't have been full or memory full so we could have seen that, because I can only imagine the look on Matt's face when he's stuck that net around that pig. That's just got to be something to go crazy about.
The dead
to me, I'd have been.
The dead
was
silence
it?
When he picked the fish up and put it on the back live well, it was just a pause, a dead silence in the boat for a minute. We're just looking at it.
Oh man!
Definitely a different kind of day, Lyle. There's no doubt.
Oh, I'm quite sure, and I'm very proud of you, Justin. You guys done really good, and what was it, Matt? 2-3 years ago when we met you guys fishing up there in Warsaw or Canton or wherever it was.
Canton. It was last year.
Last year, you guys have really cranked it up and been very competitive in a short period of time, and I'm so happy for you and Casey. And you know, we're very partial to man and woman teams and guys that take their wives fishing and kids fishing and stuff. And you guys fish a lot together, and it's just outstanding to be fishing tournaments 2 years and Casey pull off that win. So I guess you'll be looking for the other one next year.
I hope so. It's like I can't do it without my original partner, Danny. I mean, he's helped out a lot this year with some of his tricks that he knows, and then fishing with Justin helping me out too. I couldn't have done it without those two.
Oh, I'm sure you're right, and that's how you get that experience is with guys that do it all the time. And I know Justin's been doing that bouncing thing for a long time.
A little bit.
Yeah, he's put me out of big fish a couple of times down there in the St. Louis tournaments, and you know, he's always in contention. And there's some of the toughest fishermen there is comes from down there. So if you can win a tournament in St. Louis, you can compete with anybody.
Yeah, it's like
he bounced it right in his mouth. Bounced it right in his mouth. Yeah. I bet he was just laying there facing the current with his mouth open, waiting on stuff to float in it, and you just bounced it right in there.
Nice. It almost felt like it just disappeared on me. I was just minding my own business out the back of that boat, and all of a sudden it's just gone. It didn't. Usually you feel a good, you know, like a thump or a boom, boom, boom. This was just. It was a good, I mean, the biggest ghost bite I guess I ever had in my life.
I had one of those in Tennessee, and he about took the rod out of my hand.
Yeah, it's usually them big ones that do that ghost bite because they're pushing it up. You see that a lot on dead sticks. If you see the rod come up instead of go down, it's usually a bigger fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's when I've seen it a lot. Yeah, you'll see that line go slack. And you look over. Now I've learned to grab the rod and just start reeling down on it real quick.
Reel down as fast as you can on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes as fast as you can. Sometimes it's not fast enough.
Yeah. I was asking them guys, I said, how do y'all dead stick in this heavy current on the Mississippi River? They said, we hang 24 ounces on there and try to get them to go straight down. The rod tip goes in the water, and they said, if you see that rod tip come out of the water, you know you got a fish.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's opposite of what I'm used to.
We used to do that up at the dam, at the Alton Dam when I was a lot younger, when the line used to be a lot closer. We'd cast reverse into the gates off the front rod holders, and you crank it down like downriggers almost. As soon as you seen that, the rod would be, you know, cranked over, and if it released, that means the fish got it out, and you better start reeling because he's heading down the river and probably done past you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations, Justin and Matt and Casey. We're so happy that you guys not only caught that fish, but won that tournament down there. And it was a great day, and we have enjoyed visiting with you guys. And I don't know. I know Justin told me he didn't think he was going to Monsters. I don't know. You guys are you planning to go down there, Matt?
No, we have Celebration of Life the day of it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh yeah, Justin, are you planning on getting a replica made of this girl?
Oh, maybe one day. We didn't take any measurements off of it. It all had to be, I guess, off whatever. I just wanted to get it weighed. We actually put the boat back in the water and took it out to the middle of the river, and I wanted to make sure it got off, weighed. I didn't want to keep any more out of the water than we had to. I got it. I got it in my mind. I know what it is. I know them replicas can be pretty expensive too.
Yeah. They will not get a replica. Johnny Summers, he had a replica made. They sent him one, and when he got it, he said it wasn't close enough, that it was okay. He said, if I'm gonna have a replica, I want it to be the real thing.
Right.
And send it back. So, guys, if they don't have the exact true measurements, they just won't get one.
Yeah. I've never been a big guy hanging stuff on my wall. I've duck hunted my whole life, and I got one mount on the wall, and it's not even mine. So that, I got it in my head. Enough people seeing it. I got pictures. I'll probably get a big poster or something made of it, something like that. Get a big picture blown up, have it framed.
It's truly a fish of a lifetime.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, guys,
I'm glad everything held up.
yeah, me too. I'm really glad.
Except that reel.
Except the reel. I didn't have any knots break though, so I'm confident in my knots again.
Yeah, I'd send that sucker back to Pure Fishing and say, hey, what y'all gonna do about this? This is the second time you about caused me to lose a trophy.
Yeah, I haven't made that call yet, but it's coming.
I would, man. That's if that weld's breaking, they gotta do something about it, man, because they're gonna lose a lot of business.
Right. I mean, it was a lot of dead weight we were pulling up, but the drag was slipping out. When I was pulling it up, I was gaining on a fish, but I still had drag slippage, so it wasn't like it was locked down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't like you was using a cane pole.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for joining us on the show tonight. We're going to cut you loose. I know everybody's wanting to see the debate and everything, and congratulations again on the win and the big fish. It's absolutely giant.
Thanks a lot, Lyle. Chuck, Doc.
All right, man.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on
See
board.
y'all later.
All right.
All right.
Chuck, what do you got tonight for closing statements?
I don't have any. I'm just ready to get this get on down to Owensboro. That's about all I can concentrate on right now, working Owensboro.
I understand.
If I had anything else on my mind, it would be just totally overloaded.
I understand. Well, Doc, I'm sure you have some stuff for some closing statements, and I know you got a tip for us, so let's go ahead and do that.
Well, I already gave tournament results. I got those through, the ones that I had earlier when we were having some problems. My tip for tonight, a couple weeks ago, I gave this tip on using these to put your sabikis and that kind of stuff in. Well, tonight's tip is I'm using another style. And this comes from the Stanley Corporation. And this is just it's like a tackle box. And I keep my loose stuff in it. Foley spoons, stuff like that. Stuff I don't have already rigged up. I keep my packaged sabikis there in this. But what's really cool about this is a two boxes, and they've got a latch system. So now I've got both of them. They're tied together. You see the marks on the top there. You can just stack these things up, and one hand on you can carry them all with you. So really nice setup. Stuff doesn't transfer from one storage compartment to another. It stays right there, and these guys match right to each other, so you can make 3 or 4 of these together if you want. And that's Doc's tip for the night.
That's a great tip, Doc. And anything that can help make things convenient and closer together has got to be a great asset to anybody that's fishing. And I know that you're excited about going down there. I know Chuck's excited. Like I say, Cindy's already got our love seat piled up with stuff to put in the truck. I can't imagine that anybody that's headed that way is not in the same boat. Jim and Sheila run into us a little trouble. We're going to try to get them on next week, and we're going to be doing the second segment of Monsters on the Ohio next Monday night. And then Jim and Sheila, they can tell us about the skipjack. They can tell us about their live bait, getting licensed, and all the stuff you need. They did just – with the move in their store, they just had a little internet problems down there, so we'll get them on next week. And everybody be safe in your travels down there, because I feel like some of them will probably be headed down there before our Monday night show next week, and some of them will be waiting till Tuesday and Wednesday and so forth. But we want to make sure everybody has a safe trip down there and get down to Owensboro. We're going to have a good time. We're going to catch a lot of fish. So thanks for watching Catfish Weekly tonight. For Doc Lang and Chuck Davis, and I'm Lyle Stokes, and we will see you next Monday night on Catfish Weekly.